Oh, yeah.
Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to Elena's Bar, Low Impact Full Body Workouts. I'm today with Melody. Hi, Melody. Good to
Hi.
see you. And we decided to make a video for you about yoga and why some people misinterpret the meaning of yoga, what it means, and why they take it religiously. Okay. And it's a pretty tough topic. So, guys, if you don't want to listen to it, you don't have to, obviously. But to me, yoga is mostly a physical workout. It helps you to unite your body, your mind. It's definitely a body-mind connection type of exercise. And it's very healthy. It has multiple benefits for your body, for your mind, and also for your breath whenever you are breathing and conjugating the breath with the movement. And yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it. And whenever we are using Sanskrit in our particular classes, we just want to give you this authentic experience so that you know the names for some poses. And I occasionally use mantras. They're really good. Sanskrit has proven to have good benefits for your brain to relax and to actually focus, because when you're singing the mantra, it's not like you are devoting it to some god or whatever. If you're just listening to the sounds of Sanskrit, they will help you to stay focused on your practice and release everything else that no longer serves you, and get ready for your yoga practice. Melody, what's your take on Sanskrit and religion around yoga? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, it's totally possible. Like you can do yoga without knowing or speaking any Sanskrit. I mean, it's important to remember too that like that's kind of where it came from. It's just like with ballet. Like even if you speak English or Italian or whatever, you're gonna use French words.
Yeah.
Like plies and like arabesques. I don't you know all the ballet words more than me for sure, but so I mean that's really a big part of it, is just the language that it's coming from. And while you can do the physical postures without, yeah, I mean for some people, like there is kind of I guess one good thing about like knowing the Sanskrit names for poses and like kind of having that as a standard, it's kind of like scientific names for plants, or like going to Latin mass or something. So like no matter where you are in the world, like you can be on the same page about what you're doing, like even if you don't speak that language. Like if everyone speaks a little bit of a language that they don't speak, then because even when you get into just teaching English, there's so many, I've gone to classes where like they don't use Sanskrit, and she'll say something and I'll like get into the pose, and then I look, I'm like, okay, apparently she meant something totally different, but like, I'd heard another teacher refer to it as that. So there's definitely some benefits, I think, to having that standardized language used. And also just the fact that, yeah, that's where a lot and not that like, people in South America never like stood on their head or like did the splits. I mean, it's a lot of the movements are just functional movements, or exercise, or good for stretching, flexibility, balance, rehabilitation sometimes. So I mean, in a lot of ways, like it is just kind of a worldwide thing. Like a lot of the movements are just ways that people have been moving and stretching like since they've had their limbs and whatnot. um so yeah, that's kind of my take on the Sanskrit, is that it just kind of, that's where yoga as kind of an organized system of exercise, with like a specific goal, came from. So that's why they're using
I hear some people say that yoga is so they get into religion, and I don't really want to talk about religion here on my YouTube channel. Okay, this is not what this channel is about, but we are going to touch a little bit about on that topic. And I hear that also it's so non-Christian, and people should not be doing the Christian people should not be practicing yoga because if they get into certain poses, they bow to the other gods that are in Buddhism, right? And they take it really deep, I guess, you know.
Right. And I guess like honestly, if you are really devoted to like your God and you really believe that by doing that you're, you know, worshiping another God. I mean, if the worship comes from you, the worship comes from your heart, not from the pose. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, you know, don't do anything that like goes against your conscience, but you know, putting I remember when I was in college, one of my friends' moms went to this church that was kind of out there in some ways, but she would send the sermons every week. And I remember the pastor had done a whole sermon on yoga. And he was apparently going through a slideshow and came to, you know, this photo. And I don't know what pose it was. He's like, look at this boy. Like, if the only way he could do that is if he was demon possessed, there's no way that a normal human could like achieve that flexibility. It's like, well, you look at like the football players or like basketball players, like how high they jump. You could say the same thing. Like, there's no way that a normal person, you know, it's like, well, yeah, someone who's like the best in their physical field is, yeah, it's unusual. It's extraordinary.
Possessed by evil.
But no, it's not. I mean, yeah,
I know, just
there's any talent, you know, and honestly, by attributing like good things like talent and strength and health to like, you know, I guess a deity or a spiritual power that you oppose, it's like, well, then don't give them that power. You know, it just seems like a weird approach, you know.
yeah, because it's up to you how you choose to perceive yoga and those poses. You can take a benefit from it. It's just like anything we have in life is just a tool. You know, yoga is a tool. But if you want to stay fit and healthy, you can use it to get benefits from it, or you can look at it from the religious standpoint and say, "Oh, I can't do these beneficial poses because they have this." Weird gods associated with them. I don't even know what
Which
kind of
most of them
gods
aren't even
are
associated with,
associated with each pose. And I'm teaching
yeah.
yoga, guys. I want you to pay attention to a lot of yoga teachers. They just teach yoga from the physical standpoint. They don't get deep into the religion. Of course, you can find teachers who will teach you the religious aspect of yoga, like diving deep into the maybe some weird meditations and like really weird experiences maybe, but this is not what we are doing here. Okay,
Well,
we
that's
are,
not even really traditional yoga. Like even if
yeah,
you read through like the yoga sutras of Patanjali and stuff, like there's really it doesn't require a belief in a particular god, and it doesn't, you know, like condemn you for having one. It's just kind of very straightforward. Like this is how your mind works. This is how to, you know, kind of tell when it's going off track and how to get it back in track and stuff. And that's where, you know, yoga as a physical practice started, was just basically so you can sit comfortably for hours. And it takes a lot of physical training to do that, like a lot more than anyone would ever possibly think. Um, but yeah, even from that perspective of like the origins of yoga, it's not yeah, it wasn't for like worshiping a god. It was for, you know, basically being able to still your mind so you can be a more effective person.
yeah,
So, and yeah, just with the attributing different thing. I mean, if you look at like some of the Northern European, like, you know, old time cultures, different trees were associated with different gods, you know. And so are we supposed to stop landscaping? You know, if you plant a birch and an oak in your front lawn, you're obviously like glorifying, you know, I don't remember who's associated with what tree, but yeah, I mean, yeah, there's definitely like pretty much every single plant and tree if you're coming from that perspective. Or they could just be, you know, plants and trees that either offer shade or they look pretty or maybe have something, you know, hazelnuts or something, you want to snack off of it. So yeah, I mean, if you can just like look at, find if there is good in something and it doesn't, there's some things that by their nature have like, bad things attached to them. But saying like yoga, I mean, it can just be a physical practice, a way to
Yeah.
keep your body.
And a lot of therapists suggest yoga for rehabilitation, for recovery from surgeries, from injuries. If yoga was that bad from the physical standpoint, maybe the medical professionals would not have offered it to the elderly people to maintain their strength, their bone density, right? Yeah, if it was that bad, I doubt that they would offer it, as an alternative to, keep yourself up with the regime and gaining more strength and mobility.
Yeah, and that's another good thing about yoga is that it's so versatile.
Yeah.
You can do it while you're recovering from an injury. I mean, obviously you have to modify, but something that
Yeah.
you can do, yeah, as you get older. When you're young, obviously your practice is going to change throughout your life, and it's always going to look a little different. But yeah, that's one of the nice things about it. It's not something like running where like you're going to get to a certain point and like you're just, if you didn't blow out your knees by running, like you're just not going to want to do it, and it's not going to be safe or healthy either, because then you trip and fall when you're like, you know 90, and it's usually not good. And like, whereas yoga, you can, I mean, for one thing, prevent falling just by working on your balance throughout your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not something where you're doing crazy things where you're going to be injuring yourself and like making it so that you can't do any physical fitness.
Yeah, low impact full body workouts are really a great way to go because you can adjust them, you can cross train with them, you can do a lot of things and modify or challenge yourself, simplify if you need to. And I used to run too, and this is where I blew up my left knee. So now I have to be really careful what I'm doing. There is no way I'm going back to running. It's just not happening. And there is a lot of people think that all they need to do is go to the treadmill and run and like run in the parks, I always tell them that, yeah, right now it works for you because your knees are still in a good condition. Wait until something goes wrong with your knees and then you can't do running anymore. And it's not to say that running is bad. It's good. It's beneficial for your lungs. It's beneficial for the rest of the body, but how much impact does it have on your joints, guys? And this is with over time, as you age. I want you to really pay attention to whatever you are doing, like HIIT, like this high intensity workouts. Be careful with them because you can only do them. It's like football players, they do it and then they can't do anything, they are done, their body is done. So what's the effect, after that kind of exercise? Yeah, you might feel great right now because your body still keeps up with it, because you still have the youth, you still have the strength to pull it off. But there will be the moment when everybody is kind of declining over time. Sorry, this is just how the life works. We are born, we die.
Yep.
And it
You
kind of,
gradually decline in between.
yeah, we are slowly declining after we are born. Yeah, you can last it, maybe you can extend it for a few more years, who knows, but eventually you'll all come down to the point that, okay, I can't do the crazy stuff anymore. I have to slow down. I have to figure out what works for me. And yeah, you have to adjust it to your body. It's better to do some activity than non-activity at all, so check out the low impact full body workouts that we offer here. And tell us what you think about yoga. What's your take on yoga? What's your interpretation of the Sanskrit? And do you take it as a religion, or do you take it as a physical exercise? You know, there are two different perspectives, because there are so many benefits from yoga if you don't limit yourself just to the religious aspect of it, you know.
Right. And you don't need any of that to get the physical benefits
Yeah.
of it. So,
Just quieten your mind, focus on breathing. Breathing and pranayama aspect in yoga helps you to relax, and it can be applicable in so many different situations. Whenever you need to just cool yourself down, you know, just take a breath, close your eyes in a stressful situation, for example, or after fight or flight mode. Usually we are kind of in this shock, or how did we do it? How did we survive it? You know, so you are here now, you are still alive, you are still present, you know, so take a breath. And it really has a lot of benefits, guys, if you stay consistent with your practice, and if you gain strength and mobility, flexibility over time, it will help you in the long run.
sure.
So yeah, tell us what you think. What's your take on that? Thank you, Melody, for elaborating on this topic with me. It was kind of bugging me because I hear a lot of people are taking yoga from this religious standpoint, and I think it's a pretty limiting standpoint, you know. But you do you, guys. If you still are convinced that you know, it's the right path for you, okay, good for you, you know, to find something else, do Pilates, do Barre, do something else, you know.
Yeah, just be sure to do something that's not going to destroy your body in the long run. Because, like, yeah,
Exactly.
like I said, yoga is a great choice for something, physical activity to get into that you can carry with you throughout your whole life, depending on whether you're injured or not, or as you get older. But yeah, you just don't want to, don't be like, well, yoga's bad, so I'm going to do something that's the most extreme opposite of yoga and do your body a disservice. Yeah, like Elena said, Barre, Pilates, walking. There's things that aren't gonna just ruin your body for the sake of getting pumped up and, like, I don't know, fit. And I don't even get
Well, I
it.
mean, I don't even call it fit, because look, if you suffer the consequences after being fit, is that
Right,
kind
you're
of
not
fit
fit.
worthy, you know, or you can find a different fit, you know, that will not ruin you later on, you know, because yeah, our joints, our bones, we have to preserve them for as long as we can. And as we age, we tend to lose the bone density. So if you don't exercise at all, there is no load on your bones, and your bones tend to lose the density. Eventually, that can lead to fractures and very unstable bones, you know, that you just you can't really hold yourself, because it will collapse and break, you know, most likely. So yeah, you have to exercise and do it safely at the same time, you know. So
Sure.
don't do what football players are doing. They're doing it for a lot of money, and most of the time they spend all of that money on their medical bills after they are done with football. You know, this is how it goes. There is no shortcut, guys. You know, they're doing it for a very limited period of time, and then most of the money goes to cover their medical bills, and then they are done. It's like they usually tend to die very early because they just ruin themselves, you know.
Which is unfortunate. And yeah, it's not really worth it. I mean, in my opinion anyway. Like, yeah, just to
I
hit the
don't think so
extreme
either. It's
fitness.
just what for, you know, so that other people can watch you run, and it's like people will forget, you know, eventually that you got somewhere, you know. And yeah, I don't think it's really worth it. So just be mindful of what you can do, consider your body limitations, respect them, and find the appropriate activity for you, for your body type, for your anatomy, because everybody is different in that regard. Yeah, we are not the same. Some people tend to be more flexible, than others by nature. Yeah, sure. I'm not that person. If you're looking at me like that, yeah, you're so flexible. It's like all of my flexibility, I had to work for it, guys. You can still do it, but I'm not my first music teacher who can do the splits in, like, she can sleep in her splits.
Yeah,
Literally. She's very flexible, and
she's
she's
crazy flexible. She can just like bend in half, like any direction, pretty
any
much, like
direction. Yeah,
sideways, forward,
there
back.
are people like that out there. It's possible, and they make great yoga teachers. But at the same time, you have to realize that, okay, is it realistic for me to go that way? Because it depends on your bone structure, first of all.
Right. And like, what does it really serve you in life to like be able to do the splits, for instance? Like how often your day to day, it's like, oh man, I just can't finish this task I need to do safely because I can't do the splits. Like,
Yeah,
and so it's one of those things probably where, I mean, I can do like, front and back splits sometimes if I'm like
the
warmed
side
up
ones.
enough, but like sideways, like never have been, and probably not
Yeah.
even when I was like really flexible as like a little kid, I couldn't do like center splits. And it's like,
I
but
don't
I'm
think
just
I
like,
could.
that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that middle one because it was really tough for me. The bones, it's your anatomy, guys. It depends on how your hip bones are located, whether they allow you to do them. Maybe eventually, if you like are persistent enough and work on it, you can actually shift your bones a little bit. Like finding the dent in the elbow. Like if you binge with your knee a long time enough, maybe you will find more room in there. Like maybe you will move it a little bit, but like on a significant scale, it's unlikely to
At
happen.
least like crow pose, that's like really helping you engage your core and like your arm muscles, which do help you in like day to day just functional mobility and stuff. Or just again like side or center middle splits, like yeah, it's just, I mean, you want to be like limber enough that you're not like pulling your groin muscle like
Oh
every
yeah.
day.
Don't
But
overstretch yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't, yeah, I guess it's just kind of like look at the reason why you're doing whatever exercise you're doing,
Yeah.
and like,
What are you trying to
is it going to
achieve
be
there?
helpful
Yeah.
overall in life, or is it just for the sake of like my ego and proving that I can do it even if
Yeah.
it hurts me,
Which is a lot. Our ego gets in the way, and then it either crushes us, if it's not appropriately adjusted to you. Your ego can help you, and your ego can ruin you, as I've mentioned before. So, guys, great video, Melody. Thank you so much. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, give us a like and subscribe. And if you want to see more videos like this, let us know in the comments. Okay, we're always happy to hear from you. Your feedback is very helpful. Okay, we'll see you soon. Take care, everyone, and have a lovely day.
good talking
Bye.
with you. Bye bye.